Diddy's sons have stopped attending his bail hearings, and the lawsuits against them, including allegations of sexual assault involving minors, are escalating. Grace Omar K has accused Christian Combs of sexually assaulting her on a yacht in December 2022.
And me. He at that point I was fighting, trying to get away from him.
And once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation.
Diddy's son, Christian Combs, has recently been named as a co-conspirator in the lawsuit against Diddy, and it seems the apple didn't fall far from the tree.
There are also allegations that Diddy forced these victims to have sex with prostitutes as he touched himself. He called these situations freak-offs, and oftentimes he recorded them. Here's where some of the allegations against his son Justin Combs come in. So all this takes us back to February, when Rodney Jones, also known as the producer Lil Rod, filed civil suit against Diddy. In his lengthy lawsuit, Lil Rod straight name drops Justin Combs, describing him as someone who solicits prostitutes, underage girls, and sex workers. There's actually a picture of Justin Combs with an allegedly underage girl shown in the lawsuit. Now, in this specific instance, Lil Rod alleges at least one underage girl came to Diddy's home for a listening party. A sex worker was also apparently solicited, and a freak-off ensued. As an aside, this is the same night that Lil Rod alleges Diddy forced him to take a laced shot. He started to feel lightheaded and then woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, naked next to a sex worker. It's important to note Justin Combs is listed as a defendant on this case because, according to Lil Rod, he facilitated Diddy's alleged RICO enterprise and at times participated. Civil suit points to more accusations against Justin Combs too, for his involvement in an alleged shooting cover-up. According to court documents, it happened on September 12, 2022, outside Diddy's Chalice Studios. Lil Rod says Diddy, his son Justin, and Justin's friend who went by G were all there when things got heated. Lil Rod says he heard multiple gunshots ring out and later found G on the bathroom floor in the fetal position. Lil Rod says he was bleeding out of his hip and leg area. Lil Rod says he was applying pressure to G's wounds and then asked the crowd to call an ambulance. At that point, both Diddy and Justin Combs disappeared to another part of the studio. Diddy then gave strict instructions to inform the police that he had nothing to do with the shooting. He also forced Mr. Jones to lie to the police by telling them that G was shot standing outside the studio by a drive-by assailant. So that specific allegation involves Diddy's son Justin, but another allegation and entirely separate civil lawsuit involves his other son Christian, or King Combs. Grace Omar K alleges that Christian Combs sexually assaulted her on a yacht in December 2022, and she says it was facilitated by Diddy.
Diddy's family has largely stopped attending his trial. At a recent bail hearing, only two of his sons, King Combs and Christian Combs, who are named in the lawsuit against Diddy, showed up. The rest of his seven children didn't attend, and reports suggest they're trying to distance themselves from him. The allegations of abuse against Diddy are deeply troubling, with claims that he attempted to groom his stepson as well. Shockingly, his stepson is the one who attended the trial and is allegedly involved in the abuse of minors alongside Diddy.
Interesting too, because this time around, Diddy was brought in first. He was brought in about a couple minutes after 2 p.m. today, and we were all kind of waiting to see. We had heard mumblings that his mom might be in courtroom, that we were waiting for the children, but then nothing happened. But then, in another twist and turn, the children do walk in, but this time it was a lot smaller bunch than it was the last time. So last time you were having all of Diddy's children, except with the exception of Love, who is just a 2-year-old child, so she wasn't at court, but you had all of Diddy's children there except Love. But this time around, you just had Justin Combs and Christian Combs, meaning that there was no Quincy there today. Delilah and Jesse weren't there. Chance wasn't there. And the caretakers of his younger children who aren't of age just yet, they were not present inside the courtroom as well today. But his mom also wasn't in court today. So when Diddy came inside, it was still that standard issued MDC jumpsuit. He's wearing khaki. From that video of, I think that was obtained by Daily Mail back in September, of Diddy playing hacky sack in Central Park, to now he appeared just astonishingly thinner, which you can expect to be inside a federal detention center for a couple months now. A lot different from the luxury lifestyle that he was living before, but he appeared very noticeably thinner. And
Courtney Burgess, a man who was close friends with Diddy's ex-wife Kim Porter, is allegedly handing over tapes showing Diddy's sexual contact with minors. He is now being sued by Diddy's son. Interestingly, Diddy's sons seem indifferent to their mother's perspective and are primarily focused on the potential money Courtney could make if he decides to publish their mother's memoir. This memoir is reportedly in FBI custody, along with 8 tapes of the alleged freak-off parties.
He says he owns the rights to a book that was reportedly based on the alleged memoir of Kim Porter. In fact, according to TMZ, Burgess' phone was seized by the feds, and on it was a copy of a flash drive with material that was used in this book. Here's the problem. Christian and Quincy Combs, these are the sons of Diddy and Kim Porter. Quincy's actually adopted by Diddy. But they are reportedly fighting back, and they have sent Burgess a cease and desist letter to prevent the further sale of this book. They argue this is just an attempt to capitalize on Porter's fame and that they own the rights to her IP, her intellectual property, like her diary entries or potential manuscript. As her heirs, they own it. And they also want an accounting of current sales of the book. To be clear, though, they aren't acknowledging that there is, in fact, a long-lost memoir from their mother. In fact, they've actually denied that before when there was a similar book, a derivative work, we'll talk about that, published by this guy named Chris Todd on Amazon. They were adamantly fighting against that. They said that their mother wouldn't write this. But what they're basically saying is if something should exist, they own it.
In a recent interview on News Nation, Courtney Burgess revealed details about the freak-off tapes he received from Kim Porter. According to Burgess, these tapes show multiple celebrities involved in abusive acts, with victims appearing to be minors and reportedly drugged. While it's still unclear if any of Diddy's children were involved in these parties, the fact that Diddy's stepson was seen in pictures at the events makes the possibility more credible.
And those statements include descriptions of what the witness says he saw on those tapes. So I asked him about that, and he answered what he could, given the limitations imposed on him after testifying before the grand jury. Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
2 males. And of those 8 celebrities, how many of them were intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
This is going to be all speculation. I just want to preface it by he wouldn't know if
Appeared
they
to be.
were. Right.
Sure.
Appeared to
Let
be.
me rephrase
right,
it.
Based on, yes.
Understand. Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appeared to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence?
All of them. All of them.
Out of those 8, how many appear to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing?
I think all, to be honest, all.
Were victims
They
or
victims.
were perpetrating?
Victims.
They were all 8 were victimized,
Yeah.
meaning
Victim.
this was happening to them and they were inebriated.
Right. Not knowing, I guess, how much proof it was in it of what they was doing.
According to Freddie P., an artist who worked closely with Diddy in his early years and was allegedly blackballed by him, industry insiders always suspected that something strange was going on between Diddy and his stepson. He reportedly saw suspicious behavior between Diddy and his son Christian, and now lawsuits claim that Diddy raped minors while his son was by his side.
Nickname, Freaky Man. I look at his kids and everything. It's more deeper questions that I be wanting to know. Like, why were you so infatuated with a child that wasn't yours? Were you grooming that little boy? I don't even want to start those conversations because that's not your child. You know what I'm saying? And for you to keep him that close, it's like you kept him that close because he might got your secrets because he's not your child. So if he's not your child and you that type of person with that type of character, you don't mind actually doing it to him when he finally reaches a certain age because he's not yours. And you know in your mind he's not yours. And now you keep him real close to you. You make sure he don't go to his daddy. Why? You make sure he's separated with him and you provide him with everything he wants. Why? You got one of them little Michael Jackson secrets? he got one of them secrets that he can't tell nobody because his legacy, I mean, his manhood gonna be, and not only that, his brother no gonna look at him crazy. Only Puffy know, only God and Puffy.
Puffy, right?
I don't know. All I'm gonna say is, I don't know.
I'll be sure, son.
All I'm gonna say is, who's infatuated with another man's son now, like that? Like you guess that seemed like grooming to me.
The woman filing the lawsuit against Diddy has given an exclusive interview to NBC where she claims that Diddy, along with Jay-Z, assaulted her at an after-party following the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards in New York City. The 38-year-old autistic woman from Alabama alleges that Diddy drugged her, and after she lost consciousness, both he and Jay-Z raped her. In the lawsuit, she names other celebrities as well, expressing that she was terrified of the potential consequences if she ever spoke out against Diddy and Jay-Z.
You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let what somebody else did run your life.
A 38-year-old mother from Alabama who has filed a lawsuit accusing Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z of raping her when she was 13 years old is speaking out to NBC News for the first time. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward and talk today?
Because I think that I've been quiet long enough about what I've been through, and it's been hard enough to be quiet, but it's a chapter of my life that I'd like to close.
You weren't scared to be all alone?
No, with having autism is like feeling like you live your life in a shatterproof juggle ball. The world's on fire. The fire is inside the ball with you, but there's no way for you to get out.
In addition to having autism, the woman says she suffered a head injury. The night of the 2000s VMAs, she says a friend drove her from Rochester, New York to Manhattan, a more than 5-hour drive. Her attorney provided NBC News with the name of the friend who has since died. The woman says she spoke to Combs' limo driver who offered her a ride to an after party.
I stumbled upon Diddy's driver who told me that I was exactly what Diddy was looking for.
What did you think when he said that to you?
I thought it meant that I was just pretty.
She went to a White House, she says, where she spoke to musicians Benji Madden and his brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo because, I have about his tattoo that's the Last Supper because I have a religious background. So it was just something to talk about.
At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter took turns raping her while a female celebrity watched.
JC comes in and rapes me. He at that point I was fighting, trying to get away from him, and he put his hand over my mouth and told me to stop it, cut the
After the alleged rape, she says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up and drove her home.
We rode home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was.
The male victim has also come forward, speaking about the abuse he suffered at the hands of Diddy. He claims that Diddy assaulted him after giving him drinks that had been laced with drugs. The victim shared his story in an exclusive interview on CNN just a few weeks ago, detailing the traumatic experience.
It was incredibly painful, and he was acting like it was nothing.
Yes, he sat in the dark, but he brought into the light some very disturbing allegations against Diddy.
I was screaming. I was telling him to stop.
More than 24 accusers have filed suit against the still imprisoned rap mogul. But this man is the very first to do an on-camera interview telling his chilling story to CNN's Elizabeth Wagmeister.
He was abusive beyond belief.
The man, identified only as John Doe, says he was hired by a security firm to work at one of Sean Combs' famous white parties in the Hamptons.
Hey yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Diddy.
At first, he was incredibly friendly, very gracious.
But the accuser's lawsuit, obtained by Extra, claims that Combs targeted him, providing him with drinks throughout the night.
This didn't come from staff or someone holding a tray of drinks. It came from him directly.
Correct. The first drink started to have some effect on me, and I just thought, wow, these are really strong drinks. It wasn't until the second drink, and it was already too late, that I realized that there was something wrong with the drinks.
In the suit filed in October, the man claims Diddy pushed him into a van, held him down, and sexually assaulted him. He says he could not escape because he had been drugged.
Sean Combs was waiting in the wings. He was watching from some sort of vantage point. And once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation.
Another of Diddy's alleged victims, Thalia Graves, came forward publicly on September 24, 2024. Graves filed a federal lawsuit against Diddy and his former bodyguard, Joseph Sherman, accusing them of drugging and sexually assaulting her in 2001 at a Bad Boy Records studio in New York City. Her testimony aligns with the accounts of other victims, but in this instance, Graves claims that Diddy instructed his bodyguard to assault her as well.
The latest woman to speak out against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is from Harris County.
Yeah, our Reka Mudaraj is here with more on the lawsuit that was filed yesterday. Reka?
Len and Mia, these are the latest accusations against Sean Combs, and it comes about a week after Combs was indicted on federal charges alleging he used his business empire as a criminal enterprise. Now, yesterday, high-powered attorney Gloria Allred appeared with her client. This is Thalia Graves, a Harris County resident who filed a lawsuit against Combs in New York. We are using her name because she has gone public with her claims. Now, in the lawsuit, Graves alleges back in 2001, when she was 25 years old, Combs and his head of security lured her into a meeting at a New York City recording studio where they gave her a drink that caused her to briefly lose consciousness. When she woke up, Graves says she was bound and restrained and was violently raped by Combs. The lawsuit filed Tuesday also claims the alleged assault was recorded and that the video was shown to multiple other men. Graves says she also faced multiple threats that made her stay silent for decades.
The violation I have experienced during the assault has had lasting effects on my body, causing ongoing health problems and complications. The combination of physical and emotional pain has created a cycle of suffering from which it is so hard to break free. I want to continue on this journey towards recovery and healing. I'm glad that he is locked up, but that's a temporary feeling of relief.
54-year-old Combs is in jail facing federal charges including sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He was denied bail twice after pleading not guilty.
Diddy has been accused of sexually abusing children younger than his own, which helps explain why his family is distancing themselves from him. No one wants to be associated with such serious allegations, and if the charges are proven true, it's difficult to imagine the toll it will take on his family. Reports also suggest that Jay-Z and Beyonce were present at the event where the abuse allegedly occurred. Not only did they participate, but they are said to have helped Diddy cover it up.
What does he say about Jay-Z, the artist, the businessman? Well, the complaint begins. Defendant Sean Combs, along with his longtime friend and collaborator, Sean Carter, drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl at an after-party following the 2000 Video Music Awards. Another celebrity stood by and watched as Combs and Carter took turns assaulting the minor. Many others were present at the after-party but did nothing to stop the assault. Combs had been allowed for years to conduct himself in this manner without any consequences. He believes he is above the law. He is not. His close friend Sean Carter has been with Combs during many such instances described herein. Both perpetrators must face justice. So that seems to suggest that Sean Carter, Jay-Z, was not only present or participated in this alleged, what is essentially a crime, but for other instances. And that's really interesting. That's why I bring up this idea of, could he be hit with more lawsuits if you take these allegations as true? Now, the complaint goes on to say, Combs and Carter were not simply occasional collaborators in the music industry. The two men developed a close friendship that has been well documented from the late 1990s to the present. Together, they attended countless music industry events for each other's business ventures, parties, and after parties. Indeed, the two are apparently so close that Combs stated in 2023 that Carter is the only person, other than Combs' mother, who is allowed to call him by his legal first name of Sean. In 2000, near the height of their fame, power, and influence, Combs and Carter attended the 2000 Video Music Awards in New York City. Afterwards, Combs hosted an after-party for many of the most famous celebrities in the music and entertainment industries, including Carter, which is where the events alleged in this complaint occurred. I should also say that Busby also used this complaint to address an alleged harassment campaign that he claims Jay-Z started after Busby reached out about his involvement in the suit. The complaint reads, Carter was identified in plaintiff's original complaint as Celebrity A. Prior to the filing of this amended complaint, Carter received a letter from plaintiff's counsel requesting a mediation to resolve this matter. Upon present information and belief, Jay-Z responded to said letter by not only filing an utterly frivolous lawsuit, the one that I mentioned before, but by also orchestrating a conspiracy of harassment, bullying, and intimidation against plaintiffs' lawyers, their families, employees, and former associates in an attempt to silence plaintiff from naming Jay-Z herein. This effort was meant to scare plaintiff and to discredit her counsel. That effort failed. Indeed, plaintiff chose to file this amendment as a result of the egregious conduct perpetuated by Carter.
Gene Deal has explained why many celebrities are staying silent and attempting to cover up what happened. According to Deal, Diddy recorded everything that took place at his house, including all the parties he hosted, and everyone who attended was filmed. Now these individuals are fearful of what might be revealed if they speak out. Will Smith, Jay-Z, Ashton Kutcher, and Jennifer Lopez were all once close friends with Diddy, but they are now trying to distance themselves from the situation.
Anybody came out defending Diddy. All these celebrity friends he have, and nobody came out.
They brand. It's all about the money. They saw what he did to Cassie. With the kicking, the punching. They saw what they did to Cassie. They know did nobody in America like that. So now, these people are represented by a brand. Whether it's something about the music, clothing, movies. They're not gonna come out and speak on nothing that has anything to do with them, and they praying that they not on the tape doing crazy stuff, being oiled up in the whole 9 yards. They praying. So until the feds say, hey, yo, listen here. We got you on, hey buddy, we got you on this tape, and girl looked like she was pretty young. We're not gonna show it, but we need you to come and testify against Brother Love, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, you know, Sean Combs. That's when they're gonna start talking. And they're not gonna be talking in his favor. When the feds come to them and show them what they got on tape, because if he had 250 tapes all over, 250 cameras all over the house, somebody got caught stealing a cookie out the cookie jar. It could be your favorite pastor. It could be your favorite politician. But they didn't think they was being watched. And Brother Love was watching.
Yeah, I mean, TD Jakes, he hadn't even came out and said anything. And him and Diddy was real cool.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, man. And I know the people in the congregation over there is shaking in their boots because this man then led them probably, allegedly probably led them to damnation, because those people's hearts are gonna be broken if that man is seen on those tapes doing anything. Because people always put their faith in the pastor instead of putting their faith in God. And what they need to do is understand that he's just a man. And he has a history. It's not looking too good for him.
So you feel like celebs are worried that they might be on jail?
Oh, they know. That's why they ain't speaking up or saying nothing. Yeah, I was at a Diddy party, but I know I ain't do nothing. When you don't know somebody's taping you, when you don't know that somebody is videoing you in some kind of form or fashion, you got that alcohol, you got the drugs in you, they're a little loose, bruh. They let down all their inhibitions. The music is pumping. He said it himself. He got it so hot in there that you gotta take your clothes off. He said that himself, bruh.
Tony Busby, the lawyer behind the case against Diddy, has revealed that there are over 300 victims, some of whom are reported to be younger than 7 years old. In a recent interview with Piers Morgan, Busby stated that he would name all those involved in the alleged sex trafficking ring. The victims who have come forward are supported by police reports and medical records to back up their claims.
We intend to name people in these lawsuits. We're not going to do it in interviews. We're not going to do it, without doing our due diligence, because obviously, these types of allegations are very hurtful to people if they're not true, and very hurtful, frankly, if they are true. But if they're true, you shouldn't have been in the room and you shouldn't have been participating. So I anticipate that we're going to start filing lawsuits, and it may not be big names at first, but we have a long list of names, and you might imagine in situations like this that when a victim tells us that this person was in the room or this person participated, we want to do as much due diligence as humanly possible before we file that case, because in the United States, in almost every state, public filings are in fact public, and when you name somebody in a lawsuit, the press is going to pick it up, and we're aware of that. So we're going to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's, and I expect that there will be some people named in these lawsuits that will raise some eyebrows.
As the lawsuits continue to mount and Diddy's own family distances themselves, the gravity of these accusations is undeniable. What do you think about the shocking claims against Diddy and the silence from the celebrities who are allegedly involved? Do you believe justice will ultimately prevail? Share your thoughts in the comments below.